Previously, Maple decided to put every stat into defense in a VR game and accidentally became so overpowered that she doesn't take damage, ate a dragon alive, and one-tapped over 2,000 players to win the first battle royal. We left off right after the start of the second battle royal, where she's also joined by her friend Sally. Sally and Maple wander around the empty map complaining how there's nothing interesting. Then Maple disappears. Sally wonders where the frick her friend went, then hears a voice coming from the floor. So she sticks her face in the floor and sees Maple in a cave and goes down to join her. They come across a dungeon door and head inside. A huge clown-looking thing suddenly jumps down from the roof and Maple uses cover move to teleport to Sally and defend her. Then the thing swings again and knocks Maple back, which kills her. JK, she still takes no damage. Sally then runs behind the clown and starts slicing up the thing's ass. It swings again but misses and Sally talks a bit more smack while Maple unleashes her hydro poison, easily beating the boss. The loot chest then spawns and they get 2 silver medals. After getting back above ground, they head to the mountain where they come across Kuromu and his friends, but they don't want the smoke, so they head to a boss room instead, and the girls soon follow. They enter an ice cave where a huge bird comes out of the sky and shoots ice shards at them. Maple gives Sally her shield and uses her body as a shield to shield her shield from the ice shards. LMAO, she's just flexing at this point. The bird then shoots a big ass shard and Maple is like, alright, now I'll use my shield. Then Sally charges at it and jumps in the air. Maple anticipates the bird is going to attack Sally, so she uses cover move again and her shield fucks up the bird's claw. She then tells her Hydra to snack on the bird, but they all ended up getting frozen. The bird then starts shooting even more ice shards at them and now Maple is actually starting to get hurt for real, so Sally gives her some life energy from behind. Pause. After the thing stops spamming ice, Sally successfully jumps up on the bird and creates a tornado around it, then Maple spews more poison. The bird somehow still comes out unfazed and starts charging up a huge attack. Maple sees this coming and defends with all her might. After the death beam, the girls are still alive and the bird becomes very pissed, so it turns into a dark shadow and comes at them in that form. This was surprisingly effective because Maple's shield gets shattered and her armor is damaged too. Sally is now mad that Maple got hurt, so she takes revenge. She jumps in the air and the bird spams ice straight at her, which vaporizes her because she hasn't got Maple's defense. Psych, she was using her mirage ability to make an illusion and the bird was hitting air this whole time, wasting its ice powers. Finally, Maple summons Hydra to bite the shit out of the bird again and eventually it gets dissolved by poison. The girls finally relax and Sally asks how the hell Maple is still alive. Maple admits the only reason they won is because she acquired a new skill during battle that allows her to survive on 1 HP. A skill called Plot Armor. Maple then picks up a giant feather in the poison for crafting, then teleports to Sally and sees the loot they get for beating this boss. They get 2 eggs, which can spawn pets they can tame, and Maple starts rubbing her face on it. Outside, they come across a player who kills another for a medal and Sally gets excited at the thought of PvP, but they hold off on that because they don't want to damage their eggs. Later, they come across a tall cliff and Sally jumps down to check out what's down there. Once at the bottom, she turns around and sees a big purple ball hurling down too. Turns out, Maple put herself in a ball of poison to help her travel faster. Eventually, their pet eggs start to hatch. Maple gets a turtle and Sally gets a fox and a ring, which allows pets to help their owners in PvP. Maple names her turtle Syrup, so together they can be Maple Syrup. Get it? And Sally names hers a bureau. And before dark, they start training their pets to attack mobs because they can level up as well. The next day, they wander into a desert and come across another girl named Kasumi, who looks like she wants all the smoke. Sally and Kasumi dash through the desert, feeling out each other's speed. Kasumi then suddenly slices Sally so fast she couldn't even react. But then Kasumi realizes it's a mirage, and she gets sliced instead. Then they get distracted by Maple falling out of the sky and crashing in the sand. This triggers a sand whirlpool and they get dragged down into another dungeon. The girls square up again, then realize they're bound by enchanted chains, and learns that while bound, if one person dies, they all die, so they make a temporary truce. As they walk down the halls, Maple trips and falls right in front of a medal. Then the cave walls start shaking and a snail on all kinds of steroids and growth hormones passes by without noticing the girls. Then tons more of them show up and Sally and Kasumi nopes the hell out of there with super speed, dragging the slow Maple with them. After Maple gets ragdolled, they realize there's nowhere left to run and get completely surrounded by giant snails. Maple then spots a hole with light up above, so Sally quickly uses her leap ability to jump to it, but she couldn't jump high enough. Kasumi Kasumi then clutches with her double jump and everyone escapes safely. Sally and Kasumi now respect each other more and they head towards the door. Inside, their chain disappears and they open the loot chest to find more gear and medals. After they make it back up, Kasumi apologizes to Sally for attacking her earlier and they squash the beef and depart as friends. The next day Sally finds Maple playing a game with a boy named Kanade and introduces him to Sally. He shows them his magical cube which he acquired after beating a puzzle in a library. He also gives them a book with clues that lead them to puzzle locations. And soon they found a place where fountains are supposed to be filled with water. So Maple uses her Hydra to puke poison in them and this works as well. They get transported underwater and as they get ready to face another boss, a giant tentacle comes out and gets devoured by Maple's shield. Then they come face to face with a huge squid who also has regeneration, so Sally wonders how the hell they're supposed to kill it. Maple gets an idea and summons her Hydra again to poison the entire ocean, and this is how the squid was easily defeated. After this boss, they get transported to another part of the ocean and Maple starts drowning. Then she remembers she's in a VR game and they acquire 2 more medals. At night, they realize the event is about to end, but they don't have enough medals to win. So Sally decides she needs to start killing other players for more medals and Maple agrees to keep her pets safe while she goes out to risk her life in PvP. As she's speeding through the forest, she comes across 2 noobs. The girl tries to stab Sally, but she dodges and gives her a slice. Noob girl swings again and Sally plays limbo, then knocks her weapon out of the way and puts her in a spliff. Her friend now also starts swinging her ass off, but Sally dances and dodges everything like Muhammad Ali. Then, with a few slices, she sends him up to heaven to meet him. After taking 2 bodies, Sally's disappointed that they never even had any medals on them. Bruh. So she goes hunting for more people while Maple struggles to calm down the pets eating a slime. She then looks up to the red moon and hopes that Sally is still well. And she's well indeed, because she just encountered a large group of people who look up at her in horror, and in the end she only got 2 medals out of the whole massacre. After making it back to Maple, they hear someone else with them in the cave, and coincidentally, it's Kasumi. Then for extra safety, Maple puts poison in the entrance of the cave so nobody would dare to come in. They play a board game as they wait for the mascot to tell them that the event ended so they can relax and use their coins to buy more skills. Maple buys a skill called Megamorph to make her turtle pet absolutely huge, and Psychokinesis, which allows it to fly. The 2 other girls look at her like WTF is this bitch on, while Maple summons Acid Rain to kill a bunch of mobs on a giant flying turtle. The next day, in real life, Maple fell asleep at school because she stayed up all night gaming. In the hall she gets bumped by a guy and squares up, thinking she's still in a video game. During dodgeball, while the ball is flying at her, she tries putting up her shield and gets smashed in the face, then decides to take a break from VR. Well, not really, because she logs on again after school and Sally tells her the devs added bright bugs you can catch that allows you to buy a house for your guild. Maple gets excited and wants to go catch it, but Sally reveals that she already got it. So they start looking for a bunch of houses and get disappointed that none of them are good. While they walk in the forest, Sally talks about how some guilds are insane, like the Flame Emperor Guild, who everyone joins because the leader is a hottie, or the Holy Sword Guild, which has all top players from the first battle royal, including Pain, who's number 1. Then they come across a tree stump house which they find super cute, so they decide to buy this one on the spot. After settling in, they feel a bit lonely in the big stump, so they invite Kasumi and Kanade into their guild to live with them. While in the lobby, they also come across Iz and Kuromu, and Sally asks if they were out on a date. Iz then says no and puts Kuromu in the friend zone. Maple then invites both of them to join the guild as well, and everyone is happy to have more members. While they all gather in the house, they select Maple as their leader and she comes up with the name Maple Tree as the guild name. Then she takes Kanade and Iz on an air trip on her giant turtle and they land in front of a mine where they can get materials. And she sucks the turtle in her ring when she doesn't need him anymore. Inside the cave, Kanade says his cube gives him a random skill every day, and today it luckily happens to be mining. Then they get interrupted by a monster and the 2 leave Maple because she's slow. Meanwhile, Sally is above ground fighting some tree monsters for stats. Then some cute creatures come out to attack her, but she dodges easily and burns them all with a fireball. Then the 2 types of mobs team up and Kuromu jumps in the fray and starts shield bashing them. A tree thing then comes behind Kasumi and she shows us that she's no punk bitch either. Back at the house, they have a meeting and Kuromu tells them the devs are planning a 3rd level and 2 more events, with one of them being a guild competition. So Maple and Sally go out to find more people to recruit. After not being able to find anyone suitable, Maple suggests going back to level 1 to look for people, and in the lobby she finds Mai and Yui. She invites them to join her guild and they happily do so. The 4 of them then go on a restaurant date to get to know each other better, and they find out the twins are players who maxed out their attack skill, so they're shit at every other skill. Then they fly on Maple's turtle to the dungeon they need to beat to unlock level 2 and the giant deer from last time spawn again. But this time Sally summons her pet to help, then uses a move from Naruto. A bunch of Sallys now start fucking up the beast and her pet turns into an Elon Musk flamethrower. After being burnt, the deer recovers and sends giant tree roots hurtling towards Maple and the girls, but she simply blocks and devours. Sally throws a fireball and 2 wind cutters at the thing, then 5 Sallys all slice it at the same time, causing the deer to evaporate with XP and the boss is beaten again. The twins are in absolute awe at Sally's power, and after they get back to the house, the others are glad to see new members. The twins bow to show respect, but their heads accidentally hit the table and completely shatters it. Now the rest of the team is in awe at the power of someone who's maxed out their attack instead of defense, like Maple. Subscribe and watch the next video to find out what happens in the next events, because it gets even crazier.